All right, sitting here in this 1980-421, this airplane has about 5,800 total time. One engine with about 400 hours, another engine with about 1,100 hours. And I'm out here at Mount Sterling, Illinois. Beautiful airport. Just a great setting here. And came out to do a video on this airplane. Really another unique 421, top of the market 421 that, you know, when I see an airplane like this, it's interesting. The owner of the airplane was not an aviation guy, and in some ways that's really good, because we were talking about it on the ramp a second ago, and it gave him a different perspective of the quality of the restoration of this airplane. And a lot of times I get in these airplanes, people do paint and interior on them, but they don't pay attention to the detail, and this particular one has really good detail on it. Wait for these engines to warm up a little bit, and then we're going to run this thing up. It says the Garmin engine indicating system, TXI primary flight display, 750, dual 750s, transponder, GFC 600 autopilot, and then the smaller primary flight display over on the co-pilot side, which I have not seen before, which is really nice. I like that. I like the way this panel is laid out. Mount Sterling traffic, Twin Cessna is going to be back taxiing runway 18 for departure of Mount Sterling. Yeah, Mount Sterling traffic, Twin Cessna is departing runway 18 straight out, Mount Sterling. Okay, we climbed out of Mount Sterling Airport in Illinois. Beautiful little airport. This 1980-421C is a really exceptional 421. From the paint through the interior, all the maintenance that's been done on it. It's just a really nice top of the line 421. This airplane has about 50 total time, which from my perspective is in the low time category for a 421. One of the engines is 1,100 hours. These are Ram engines. The other one has about 450. The props are new, about a year and a half ago, 275 hour props. And paint, interior, boots, maintenance, everything on this airplane is really top notch. TXI G600, dual 750s, the Garmin engine indicating system. ADS-B transponder, GI 275 standby instrument. It's got clock with charging ports. There's charging ports in the back. There's charging ports up here. And so it's just, you know, it's like a no excuses airplane. What I always enjoy flying, and it's nice to see too these older twin Cessnas getting updated like they are. And this one, the attention to detail in this one with the avionics and the interiors is great to see, because I see a fair amount of airplanes where, for instance, the avionics are just kind of, the new Garmin stuff just kind of slammed into the panel, and they don't go all the way or think about how it's laid out. You know, like the labeling and the, you know, the painting, all the switches, everything has been done on the panel to make it look, you know, as close to what it looked like coming out of the factory as you can do, which I think is the only way to do it if you're going to spend the money on these avionics. But I see some of these airplanes, a fair amount of them, that just don't get that level of detail. This one has it all: glare shield, vertical card compass, got the Rosen visors, all the detail and fit and finish around the interior, beautiful colors, a really, really premium example of a 421. And this airplane also has a really good, let's take a look at this useful load. 2608 is the useful load. So that's a pretty strong useful load. We're going to level off. I'm not going to take it up too high. We're going to level off here at 6,500 feet. Everything's set up here. I got 30, right around 30 inches on it. 1900 RPM. I'll bring these fuel flows back a little bit. Nice and quiet. Nice solid. This airplane also has Smart Glide in it, which is really cool. Turn the prop sync on. Yeah, nice and quiet. One of the great things about these 421s, how big they are. The cabin and the propellers turning at those low RPM really make it nice and quiet. Big cabin. Another one of my customers who he's had some different airplanes, and him and his wife have flown in it, different airplanes, turboprops, you know, lots of different airplanes. And one of the things he said was his wife mentioned how she liked the larger size of the 421 cabin versus some of the other airplanes that she's been in. So that's one thing I think a lot of people aren't used to when they see these, when they get into a 421, is the size of the cabin. But just a real treat to fly, especially with these avionics. I mean, it really brings this great utility into the modern era with the avionics and the autopilot. As I mentioned before, on these 421s, it's like this setup is arguably better than, in my opinion, than a brand new airplane with G1000 in it. So it really takes the safety factor up in this airplane, and then you get something like Safe Glide in it. Good engines, good pedigree engines, good maintenance, great avionics, great autopilot. It just really turns, you know, a 40-year-old airplane into, coming up on 45 years old, into something that you can really feel good about from a safety standard. So this airplane, we haven't priced it yet, but we'll be setting a price by the time this video comes out. You'll probably see the price on the screen here. And this is truly in the category of a no excuses 421. I've done videos on a few other ones. 421 Lima Golf is another one that doesn't have this avionics package, but low time, good pedigree engines, a real nice avionics package, nice paint and interior. We've talked about 55 Romeo Lima. That's another one that's just, you know, top of the line 421, all the way across with lots and lots of options on it. And speaking of options, you know, some of the most popular options on these 421s, of course, you can't do anything to the engines because they're 375 horsepower out of the box. So ram overhauls is kind of the standard. And then strakes, which this airplane has, is a popular upgrade. VGs, almost all of them get. Avionics, spoilers are really this airplane has fire extinguishers. That was a factory option. It has one nacelle aux fuel tank. And so this has pretty much all the all the popular options that these airplanes get. There's nothing I don't think I'd add to it. And the great thing about an airplane like this, as I'm flying it, it's just like once again everything's just tight, dialed in the way it should be. Pretty strong airplane. I love the color. I love the paint scheme. I like airplanes that do something a little different on paint, and this one with this solid kind of I don't know what the exact color is, but it's almost like a khaki, and black spinners and some black detail on it. Beautiful airplane. He's got some customized headrests with the logo, but he has the headrest without the logo on it, so the airplane could be taken away from that specialized logo look, whoever the new owner is. But beautiful airplane. Real quick performance on these 421s. You're probably going to get 200 knots at typical cruising altitudes. If you take it up in the 20s, you'll get closer to 220 knots, 40 gallons an hour in fuel burn. This 3 to 4 hour range is practical range with the fuel and with this high useful load. You can easily take 6 adults and bags and go 2-3 hours easily, 3 hours plus an IFR reserve. So they're very utilitarian and very roomy in the back, so you really can take 4 people back there and they're comfortable. Everything works good on them. The heating, it's cold out today, and the heat, I had to turn it down. And so a really good modern feeling airplane. And you just can't buy a new airplane like this anymore. All right, so we're gonna do a fully automated approach and landing here. So in Mount Sterling, Twin Cessna is setting up for RNAV GPS 18 for a full stop, Mount Sterling. Okay, we had a little bit of technical difficulty. We had a camera overheat in this cold weather. That wasn't something I planned on. But we're going to go back now and rejoin here at Hagdu. We're going to go into approach mode. And I'll keep an eye on that camera. So, yeah, it's cold out, but I was talking about how warm this heater is, and I think I just overheated because it's in the sun. I overheated that camera. And the Twin Cessna, we're inbound to Hagdo for the RNAV GPS full stop into Mount Sterling. We're inbound to Hagdu, all on the automation here. I got the power pulled back pretty much to where I want it now. Pressurization is good. Prop sink's going to come off. I brought the spoilers down, so we got flap speed, everything's set. And we've armed the approach. So we're gonna let the autopilot and the FMS take us down here. And the final approach fix, I'm gonna try to be configured by the final approach fix, except for landing flaps. We're about 7 miles from the final approach fix. So I got the lights up, pumps are on, everything looks good. These airplanes with this configuration, you got 1, 2, 3 screens. So you got traffic, I got the chart, and I got the flight plan up there. There's Hagdu. Go back again on another little bit of power. Now these engines, the way they are now, they're plenty cool, so I don't need to cool them off nice and slow, so I don't need to really do anything else. But I'm going to fly this the way I always fly it, and that's just bring the power back to around 19 inches, and then as you add flaps and gear and start the descent, you'll pretty much have blue line. I'll fly this. I'm gonna leave the last notch of flaps for a short final. And I've got a glide path now. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring out, I'll wait till that's alive and I'll bring out flaps about 4 miles from the final approach fix. Mount Sterling traffic, Twin Cessna's on a 5 mile final for 1-8 full stop. That's Mount Sterling. Got the lights on. Everything looks good. Comes a glide path. So I'm going to get pretty close to intercept, then I'm going to bring the gear down. What a smooth flying airplane. I've flown a lot of different 421s, and while they all are really close, there are differences. And to have the perspective I have, to having flown a lot of different ones, when you get in an airplane like this, and you start to be able to make, tell the difference. And this one, I can tell you, is very smooth, very solid feeling airplane, very quiet. There's glide path intercept. Yeah, I'm going to get another notch of flaps out. Now, I haven't touched the power. Let's just see how I do. I'm right at blue line. It's a glide path. I got the field in sight. So I'm right at blue line. I got 1 notch of flaps left. Everything is set. And again, I have not touched the power since probably about 5 miles from the final approach fix. And this is right where I like to be. If I was shooting a real instrument approach, I could land easily with this runway. We got about 6,000 feet. I could easily land with not full flaps. I like generally to not make configuration changes inside the final approach fix. It's about minimums right there. Gears down, 3 green, flaps. Now here, I could go to land to last notch of flaps, autopilot comes off, and still really not touch the power, and I'll start to slow below blue line until I'm right in there where I want to be. Once you get used to flying these airplanes, they're really pretty straightforward. Power's off, here comes the 1,000-foot markers. And with the trailing link gear, they're just absolutely smooth and easy. What a treat this one was to fly. Again, this is a top of the class, one of the top 2 421s I've been in my career. With the combination of low airframe time, good pedigree engines and times, avionics, and there's lots of different configurations for avionics with these airplanes. So, while I like, obviously similar to 55 Romeo Lima with everything, but you don't have to do everything because you still have tons of capability. And so this avionics package is, it lacks another TXI 600 over on the other side, but to me it doesn't really make any difference because it has everything you need. And exceptional fit and finish on the interior. I put it right at the top of the list, if not the top of the list on fit and finish. And paint, it's a unique paint job, which I really like. And just a great airplane, turnkey airplane. And as I mentioned before on some, I think it was in 55 Romeo Lima, a lot of times I find that people don't account for the amount of time it takes to get an airplane in this condition. You know, you find a nice, good low time 421, but you could spend easily a year and a half getting it dialed in. I was talking to the owner of this airplane, and you know, it took time before he had all the little kinks worked out of it, all the little, you know, glitches with wiring, and this airplane's had all the wiring done. You know, it's hard to go through everything that has to be done on these airplanes to get them tight, to get them to be reliable without little glitches here and there. So this one is special. Again, it's going to be for sale soon. Maybe at the time of this video we don't have it fully up yet, but you can always get a hold of me. I can help you out with you know, training, mentor flying, the whole 9 yards when it comes to twin Cessnas. So if you have any questions, get in touch with me, and thanks for watching.